13. Consenting to the human experience. It's a really interesting engagement with our divine creative brain, because to consent to the human experience, you have to be able to imagine an experience you want to consent to. And then you have to believe that it's possible and start to live into it. Your nervous system shows you like how you show up in that state of grace that you imagine for yourself. Our nervous system ease of beingness comes when we breathe. We slow down, we take a breath. When we're dysregulated, what do we have the most control over in that moment to bring ourselves into a self-regulated state? Breath. To do that collectively by consent, that we're all just going to breathe together, because we're already breathing together. But the fact that we're now aware that we're breathing together changes the dynamic of the breath between us.
I think of what else I want to ask you about the conversations we've had about consenting to the human experience, because I'm recognizing that for about 4 years I haven't, for the first time in my life, not been. And I'm pulling out of it and realizing just my privilege is foundational, that it took this long to get there. And man, do I get it now. Why people are acting out, and why we're seeing the harm that we're doing to ourselves and each other
and our
earth,
children.
Our children.
And here's it hit me between the cells when I got this. The Jojima movement is about healing the human condition for our children. Their conditions going forward, everything has to be for their benefit. And in that way, we are healing our inner child who's been waiting for somebody to show up and be a grown-up in the room. We have to collectively reparent ourselves. But there's no shame in that. There's humor and learning curve and messiness and all the fascinating recalibrations between the masculine, the feminine, the losing the binary orientation to things. Like, there's a big adjustment coming in our constructability. So it takes a big imagination, 90% more collective imagination to dream into. So Joji's about the dream. How do we dream ourselves into this? What's your superpower? You come online. We need a lot of that. Like really bringing the invitation to each person to go all in, to figure out who they are, to get to those underlying contradictions that keep us from trusting. We are here to fall in love with trust in ourselves. Say again. Yeah, we'll rest there. This is an ongoing conversation. These are not, you learn this lesson one cell at a time. It's this fear in our soma is deep. You and I have watched people, the rocking and the movement to get the energies out, and we need to have a multidisciplinary team around people when they're having these big movements. And a lot of our ceremonies don't have the capacity for this unmet trauma to be witnessed. Like, we've got some big, big release work to be done. Just above the courage to trust on Dr. Hawkins' map, the big process statement at that level is release. Everything we're about right now, we're just right at that polarity energy shift in the map, and the big word of action right now is release.
It's so true, unfortunately, that saying about most of the time people won't change until it becomes too uncomfortable not to.
Oh, this is the inflection point.
Yeah.
Come right back around full circle here. This is when the pain of staying the same, I'll get it backwards, pain of change
Outweighs the pain of staying the same.
Is more desirable than staying the same. Yeah, we're, the question is, how long can we coexist with so much cognitive dissonance in our culture? This self-abandonment plays out on some really cool intentions out there for other humans. And so then the elevated conversation to have around that is, how do we meet that primal scream of our shame core collectively? Because that's what it is. This fear-based deity of Dr. Hawkins' map, where we should be afraid of God. That is that one fundamental shift of perception, that God is enabling or God is punishing. And that is like Einstein's statement about you get to decide whether this human experience is friendly or hostile, if the universe is friendly or hostile. That's free will, choosing the friendly story, narrative of your existence, or a hostile, fear-based story. And to stay present to that choice in every moment is the practice. Yeah.
It's a great place to.
Your nervous system knows it intimately. It trusts it. It knows it. Getting home is all about the recalibration of our nervous system, individually and collectively. Then and only then will we have the imagination to see beyond the pain that we're in. We're too tired to even care. There's some work to be done just to bring people back into interest. Forget about consent. Every person I asked, do you believe we can live in harmony? They said, I'd like to, but. And I've just been unpacking the but, unpacking the universe through that inquiry, like, what gets in the way of us following through on the I'd like to? Because if we'd really like to live in harmony, we'd really be ready to do a lot of things to get there. And I think our nervous system is finally showing us we don't have another option. May it be so.